25 years I lived here, and everything was beautiful, flowers. We growed all our food.
Margie Woodrum needs a cane to find the home where she raised her children. Her eyesight is now failing.
Where am I at now?
But even when she finds the front door, she knows she can never go inside again.
Because the poison, the doctor ordered me out of here and not to take nothing and never go back in that house.
Well, lots went on in 30 years here, hadn't it? A lot of rodeos.
A few miles away in Salisaw, Linda Maxwell and Bob Eskew can only sit on the front porch of their farm home. They had to buy a trailer to live in because their house is being completely gutted. They believe something in the air was making Bob sick.
He'd say, I feel so bad. He says, Linda, I feel like I'm dying.
All three say their lives were turned upside down because they bought propane.
The last 5 years, I've not done nothing besides go to doctors and hospitals and eat pills.
In late 2005, Linda, Bob, and Margie say they bought propane to operate their heaters and stoves from Stevenson's LP Gas Company in Salisaw. Soon after, they started noticing problems.
We had the runny eyes. We had the burning nose, the burning eyes. We had blisters. Bob had blisters in his mouth, and I had sores in my mouth.
Bob thought he had the flu. And then
I just woke up one morning and couldn't see.
he says doctors would eventually tell him he had lost most of his vision and 40% of his lung capacity.
Lucky to get up and walk to the car to go somewhere now.
The nurses all pitched in and bought that for me.
Margie is now living in an apartment, using a magnifying lamp to read and taking breathing treatments 4 times a day. She says the propane she bought also caused vision loss and lung problems.
It started to be where I couldn't breathe. Just couldn't get no air, no matter what you did.
The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency eventually investigated after several customers complained of similar problems. Their report says nearly 10,000 gallons of contaminated propane was delivered to Stevenson's LP Gas in 2005, which came from Coffeyville Resources Refinery in Coffeyville, Kansas. These pictures are from their website. The EPA says when the propane was combusted, an unknown amount of residual fluorine gas was released into the air.
Well, it's something that you would want to avoid at all costs.
Stephen Perlman is an assistant professor of chemistry at Oklahoma City University. He says fluorine is part of the chemical hydrogen fluoride, or HF, which is used by refineries to make propane. How dangerous is it? Well, Stephen says when dissolved with water, it can cause serious damage to a person's central nervous system.
I would assume that when you breathe it in, that you could, that it would mix with the water in your lungs and could probably do the same sort of thing in a high enough concentration.
Margie's lawsuit against the retailer and refinery says there were manufacturing irregularities that occurred at Coffeyville's refinery. The attorney for all three would not speak on camera, but told us HF gas should have been removed from the propane before leaving the refinery, but it was not. Coffeyville's parent company, CVR Energy, declined to comment.
And I mean, all we asked was for them to come and fix the house. So yeah, it's frustrating. I cry, and I still do, because it's sad.
So who makes sure propane sold in Oklahoma is safe? The Oklahoma Corporation Commission inspects gasoline, but doesn't have the authority to inspect propane. And the Department of Environmental Quality, EPA, Oklahoma LP Gas Administration, and the Oklahoma LP Gas Research, Marketing, and Safety Commission all say they don't regulate propane. They all declined an interview for our story. However, the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission tells us they enforce propane industry standards and will look into the allegations. Stevenson's LP Gas says they're a victim too. Their attorney tells us they filed a lawsuit against the refinery for loss of income and damage to their reputation.
Just having trouble breathing?
Hello.
I thought you were.
More than 5 years later, the lawsuits for Linda, Bob, and Margie are still pending. Church friends are now restoring Bob and Linda's home. Nurses are now helping Margie get around. They all say they're in declining health and never thought that tank in the yard would be to blame.
So you're just living on a day-to-day basis is all you're living on.
And how do you deal with that emotionally?
Pray. I pray.
With 3 children to raise, Shelley Todd tries to squeeze in a quick workout whenever possible. But instead of going to the gym, she brings the gym to a corner of her living room.
Come down, then come up to a crunch.
She tried using big exercise machines in a spare room, but
when baby 3 came along, out went the gym equipment.
and in came much smaller equipment.
Earlier on, I was very uncomfortable with the gym, and I had about 25 pounds to lose. And I did all of the main bulk of what I wanted to lose right in my own home.
Personal trainer Jeff Johnson, owner of Fitness Fulfillment, sees the trend year after year.
This time of year, the gyms are packed, but you wait 30 days, 60 days, and then it starts declining, and that's when the personal trainers get busy. This alleviates that lower back pain.
Jeff helps Shelley get a cardio workout in just a few minutes with a simple step. And strength training comes from elastic bands attached to chairs, a stability ball, dumbbells, and a medicine ball, all costing a grand total of less than $200.
With something like this, you could literally work your entire body from a strength standpoint.
Todd Schlepp, owner of Edmunds Lifestyle Fitness Equipment, says today's smaller technology does more for less money. The versatile kettlebell works your upper body or core for about $10, and with a $30 wobble board,
Work more muscles in less time.
and for about $150, this adjustable set of dumbbells saves you from buying 8 sets.
All these things can be integrated into a program that you could store in a corner and spend very little money on, but yet you can accomplish a lot with that.
Shelley lost that 25 pounds 2 years ago and has kept it off ever since, proving a little time and little equipment goes a long way.
I can always work this in, so I'd say try it and see if it works for you.
It's that time again. Time for Kevin Durant and the Thunder to excite Ford Center crowds. Unfortunately, with construction in front of the Ford Center still underway, not to mention lanes closed on Robinson and Reno leading out of Bricktown, getting around downtown isn't easy.
It's been frustrating.
Cindy Cabrera's restaurant La Luna sits next to the torn-up section of Reno. With the Thunder season getting underway, her son wonders how many more weeks construction will cost her business.
We've lost a lot of people that we would see twice a week. We see once every 2 weeks.
This is an exciting time for downtown. We're seeing a lot of changes, a lot of renovation, a lot of redesign, but we understand that there's a lot of frustration.
All the road work is part of Project 180, rebuilding streets around downtown. That means the construction tie-ups will go on for months.
We are going to be working on all kinds of streets during the Thunder season and during events that are going on in the Ford and Cox Center, so it's just a good idea to plan ahead.
For now, the city does have portable signs on the interstate directing drivers. Everyone is advised to avoid using the Robinson exit off I-40, otherwise you'll land in the heart of the construction headache.
The mountain of snow was just fantastic. It was calling me. First thing they do is ask me, what are you making this year? What are you making this year? I told the guy there was a car in that snow and I had to dig it out.
We actually thought we saw a Jeep stuck, so we're like, hey, let's go help him. And he was like, no, it's an ice sculpture. So we're like, oh, wow. He's like, well, you can get some shovels and help.
Like, whose car was stuck inside there?
Yeah, I had so many people come to help me.
They got stuck with snow. They need help.
They need help?
Yeah.
It's not every day you just see someone carving a Jeep out of ice.
I know.
Or just pure snow. So definitely pretty cool.
The shoveling takes longer than the sculpting. It's not going to hold up very well. Not cooperating. Too icy. Dad always used to tease me that I needed to get a medium that lasted longer, like wood or something. By tomorrow noon, it'll look like a car in a car wreck.